Can you hear me now? Mary, can you hear me now? Okay. All right, hopefully we have some sound here. If you're with me, please let me know if you have sound or not. I switched over mics and hopefully that helps. So with the quiet reflection, you do have the mirrored images, and I'm going to show you how to use those. Now I'm also using the radiating stitches dies with that. So I'm going to use, there's only 6 dies to this, and I'm going to use 2 of the largest rectangles. So you have sound, great. I know you asked, where do you get the clues for the mystery card? Our mystery stamping, and I'll talk about that a little bit more for the rest of you. The clues are on our Simply Cards by Kathi group page. They were posted first thing this morning. So you should be able to find them there. All right, so we're going to start off with Lemon Lolly. And that is my card base. Now you can use either 4 1/4 by 11 scored at 5 1/2, or you can actually use the 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. I am using the 4 1/4 by 11. I'm going to go ahead and fold into my hill, and I'm going to bring my ends together even, and I'm going to give this a good burnish. Okay, there we go. All right, now the next thing is, I remember I said I used 2 of the largest radiating stitches. So the first one I used was this large one, and I cut out a square with pebbled path. Now to note with these dies is it does not cut out the center. So you still have a center panel. And I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. You do have a little bit of an edge, raised edge, or a little bit of a raised panel right in the center. So this is going to go here. But I want to set that aside, and I want to show you how I stamped the image for this one. So I am going to pull in a piece of basic white, and this is cut using the second largest radiating stitches die. Now you could do this 2 ways, and I'm going to show you actually the way I did it first, but not the way I'm going to teach you. I did this a couple times, and I'm going to lay down some color. I want to add some background. So I'm going to use my blending brushes, but I don't want to get color around those radiating stitches. So I am going to lay down my die right over this, and I am going to tape it down. Now, the ink will get on the die just a little bit, but it wipes off. And I'm just going to tape this down so that it holds in place. And I'm just using the Post-it note tape and to protect my edges. Okay, so I want to bring in my colors. I'm bringing in Flirty Flamingo, Calypso Coral. Let's bring those down so you can see them. And a Crushed Curry. And I want to add some sunset to this. So I'm going to start off with my Flirty Flamingo. Or actually my yellow. Let's go with the yellow. I'm going to start with my Crushed Curry. So I am going to ink this up. And I am going to grab a piece of scrap paper. Now I'm just grabbing a piece of copy paper that I have nearby and use that. I don't like to waste my cardstock, and the only purpose for this is for me to dab this off. I don't want to get a large blob of color there. So I'm going to still, even though this is anchored, hang on to it, and I'm just going to start laying down my color. I'm not looking for a real heavy layer, but just a nice little bit of tint that you can see. And I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to bring in my Flirty Flamingo and just kind of tap that. And again, tap off so that I don't get that blob. And now I'm going to start to lightly, and I want to overlap my crushed curry. I'm going to bring down the Flirty Flamingo, and not a whole lot, just adding a little bit. And now I'm going to go over to my Calypso Coral. So trying to recreate a sunset that you might see if you live on a lake. So this is my Calypso Coral, and there I want to hang on to that. And I'm just going to go over and add a little bit more, which is, you can see why I taped it down, and I wasn't holding on to it very well. There we go. So let's lay down some here. And I'm good with that. That's all I want. So let's take this off and show you what we have. So we have our sunset here, and you can see my die shifted at that point, but that's where I'm going to stamp. So now let's grab, I'm going to grab this stamp, the smaller of the two, that shows the trees and then the reflection in the lake. Now, because I have some color here, I want this one, I'm going to stamp it in all black. Hi, Maria. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to ink this up. And this stamp has a lot of detail to it. You can see it's inked up, and now I'm going to bring it in, and I want to make sure you can see. And I'm just going to come in here and come down. And we have our silhouette or reflection with some sunlight or setting sky in the background. Hi, Shirley. Thank you for joining. So now we're ready to put our card together. So I'm going to bring this one back, and we are doing 2 cards. Now you could pop this up if you wanted to with dimensionals. I'm just going to glue it down with multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to glue it right into the center of my pebbled path that was die cut with the larger of the radiating stitches. So let's put this in here. And just, you'll get a pretty even edge all the way around. And now we're ready to layer this on top of our lemon lolly. Now, either layer could be popped up if you wanted it to. I am doing this flat. So make sure I have the front of the card so it's not upside down. And we're going to put this on. Now, the radiating stitches are not perfectly even when you all the way around. So what you have is your 2 sides are going to be even and your top and bottom are even. But you can see that the top and bottom, and this is a little bit crooked here, you can see you have a smaller edge on the top and bottom than you do on the sides. Now for the inside, I decided to do another pebbled path layer, and I'm going to do another basic white layer and layer it in here. I thought that just was fun. It added a little something more to the card. And I'm going to use the greeting, and all of my greetings are from the Quiet Reflection stamp set. To remember is to give life to those we've loved and lost. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to ink this up. And let's bring in our basic white here. And just going to go down. And now we'll layer this. And then on the front, I thought I would embellish it with our classic matte dots in the, we can use either the black or the gray. I'm going to use the gray. So let's add this here. And get a little bit more centered. And now we're ready to add it to the inside. So first way to use a silhouette stamp is to stamp just with your Tuxedo Black Memento ink and stamp on a colored background or add some color with your blending brushes. Okay, so let's add a few dots here. And I'm going to take a big one here, and we're going to add one here, and then a small one down here. And then let's add another small one right over here. Now for the greeting, I did do my greetings ahead of time since we were doing 2 cards. This is another one of the radiating stitch dies. And I simply stamped the greeting, You're on My Mind, from the stamp set. And we're going to pop that up with some dimensionals. So let me bring those in here. And we just need a few. Oops. And then let's pop that up. And this card is done, and we're ready to go on to our second card. So if I pop that, I'm going to pop this right on the corner here. And here's our first card. Thank you, Shirley. Now let's go to our second card. And in the end, I do have, in fact, I'm going to show it to you now. This was the first card I made with this stamp set. And you can see I cut my die, the radiating stitches, and I laid the color down on the cut part. Now, I even tried laying the color down and then cutting with the die, and it was really hard to judge where to kind of put this. So I have found, for me, I like that white edge. Even though the color is pretty, I like the white edge, and I found to be able to lay the die down. And here I used basic white and put just a plain little bit of lemon lolly layer underneath it. So another way to use that stamp. So let's go to our second card. Now with our second card, we are using lemon lolly again, but we're going to do something a little different. We're going to add color to the die or to the stamp so that we have a little bit different look. So with this, I am going to go ahead and fold into my hill. And let's burnish that. And this is only going to have a basic white layer. Now, I did cut one of these out for the inside already, so we're going to set that off to the side. And what I have is a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now, I want to just make sure I kind of stress this. This is a big die. This takes 1/4 of a sheet of white or cardstock, whatever color you choose to use. So what I did to make these is I cut my 8 1/2 by 11 in half and then halved it again. And that is going to be enough. You can see when we go to cut it out, we just have enough to cut around it. But I am going to anchor this down and use this to add my color before I cut it. And you'll see why. We're going to do a couple different steps with this one. So I'm going to take my tape again. And I think this time I might even bring in just a piece of silicone mat to keep my cardstock from moving. That should help to anchor it. And I'm going to tape this down here. And again, we're going to add a color with our blending brushes for the background. But when we go to stamp this time, I'm not using Tuxedo Black Memento ink. We're going to add color to that stamp. So let's go ahead and we're going to lay down our color. So again, with this one, I'm going to bring in my crushed curry and ink it up. Now I'm using all the same colors, and I'm just going to dab off, and now I'm going to start to add my color. Now this one I want just a little bit more color, but not too bright. And I'm not looking to fill in that whole square by any means. Now I'm just going to use Calypso Coral. So let's bring our Calypso Coral back in. And I'm going to ink that up and tap off and start to blend. And I'm going to add right below my crushed curry. And you can see the colors are blending nicely. Now, I don't want a lot of pink, just a touch, just a little for sunset. Now, I still have ink on my blending brush, so I'm going to come back in with the crushed curry and blend those in just a little bit better. And hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to take this down just a little bit. Okay, I think we're good to go here. So this is my background for this one. So I'm going to close these inks up so I'm not wearing them, and neither is the card. And I'm going to show you, we're going to use this time, we're using this larger stamp. So you can see there's some mountains or like brush in the background there, and then you can see the trees in the water. So with this one, I want to make sure I get my image correct. So this part down here, I'm going to say it looks like the bottom of Texas. That's the water. So with this stamp, I'm going to use two colors. I'm going to come in with Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to come in with Pool Party. So the first thing I want to ink up is my Pool Party, the watercolor. And remember, I said this is kind of the bottom of the image. So I'm going to take my ink pad and I'm going to actually, hi Renee, thank you. I'm going to actually ink the stamp up with the pad, and I'm going to try to get it somewhere in the middle here. But if I go too high, I'm not worried about it, and you're going to see why. So I just want to make sure this is all inked up well, and that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to come in with my Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to ink up the top. And to do that, I'm going to turn my stamp around just because that's easiest for me. And you can see the image that we're getting here. Okay. Now, we do have a line. Normally, there's some line in the stamp that shows the silhouette. But I'm going to take my dauber, and I'm just going to kind of gently go back and forth over this. Real gentle, just to kind of bring the colors together. And then I'm going to come in here, even though I have this stamp still surrounded by the die, and I'm going to come in, give it a good press, and I'm going to hold it there for just a minute and lift up. And let's get this off. So here's our image. So now I'm ready to die cut this. So I'm going to put this back on right there where it was. And I want to make sure I keep my, normally I wouldn't have taken that off yet, but I wanted you to be able to see what it looked like. And I'm just going to run this through my cut and emboss machine. So I'm just going to turn around behind me. and I'm back here with you. So we're going to remove this, and here is our piece for our card. So now I'm ready to add this to the front, and this is just going to be these 2 layers. So let's go ahead and add this. Again, you can use whatever adhesive you like. You can use your tape runner. You can use your glue. You could pop it up with dimensionals. I am going to just use the glue on these and just pop up my greetings. So let's bring this back in here. I just think these are so pretty. They make such pretty cards. And you know, this would be a great stamp set for masculine cards. And maybe do this in blues, and then add a birthday greeting or a get well greeting, whatever you choose to add. Now, again, I did use Sorry for Your Loss. This is from the Quiet Reflections, and I fussy cut it out. And we're going to pop that right there with some dimensionals. See if there's any question. Oh, Shirley, I'm glad you like it. You know, I looked at this stamp set originally because I think I mentioned in the past somewhere that I do the sympathy cards for our card ministry at church. And I was looking for something that would be really pretty versatile, but that I could use for other things. And when I saw this, I thought, yeah, that's a great masculine card too. And what a perfect card for get well or thinking of you for someone that may be going through a hard time, and even for a sympathy card. So I'm going to pop this here. Now on this one, I'm going to add the black classic matte dots, because I think with the black writing, it'll give us just a little bit more oomph, a little bit more emphasis or drama. And I'm going to take a small one and pop that right here. Okay, now for the inside, I'm simply going to do the white cut in the, and we're using the large radiating die, and I'm going to stamp it with a different greeting. This one says, praying for his comfort to soften the sadness and bring you peace. So I'm going to ink this up with my tuxedo black. And let's go ahead and stamp. Now I'm loving this glass mat, I have to tell you, because I can line everything up and know that it's straight. And it has really worked out for me. So now, a couple things I want to remind you. Tomorrow starts the new online merchandise, and it is by far the best online products I've seen so far. And I do like the online products a lot, but these far exceed anything we've seen before. Lots and lots of new products. So here's our cards. So let me bring those both back in for you. So here's the 2 we made. And I'm going to bring you back to me. So I hope you liked today's video. 2 techniques, and there's more we can do with these stamps, and we'll do that and more as time goes on. But these are 2 quick and easy techniques that you can really add some pizzazz to that stamp set. Now, quick reminder with the online exclusives, they do go live tomorrow. If you liked today's video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. Feel free to share. It helps me grow my channel. And also, if you're new and follow me on Simply Cards by Kathi, we have started a Simply Cards by Kathi group. It is private. You have to click to join. We'll be doing some extra things in that group that we won't be doing on the Facebook page. So this week, if you are a member of that group, we are doing mystery stamping or secret stamping, whatever you want to call it. If you are in the group, I did post clue number 1 with all the measurements for the paper supplies you're going to need. And we're going to go live in the Facebook group Wednesday evening, March 6th at 7:30 p.m. So I hope I see you there. If I don't, I'll see you on Thursday. I'll be back here at 7 o'clock. You have a great week and stay safe and well, everybody. See you soon.